Welcome to the Greater Pensacola Chamber Toddcast, featuring the Vice President of Public Affairs, Todd Thompson. Join us as Todd talks to leaders in business, government, education, tourism, and other areas of interest to our local business community. And now, today's Toddcast.
Welcome again, everyone, to the Toddcast. I am Todd Thompson, Vice President of Public Affairs at the Greater Pensacola Chamber of Commerce. And with me today again is Lico Crump. How you doing, Lico?
Excellent. Thank you. The weather is fantastic in Pensacola today.
I tell you what, it is Chamber of Commerce weather today, but it's also Visit Pensacola weather today. And we are honored to have as our guest Steve Hayes, the president of Visit Pensacola. Steve, how you doing?
Doing wonderful, and you are right. Outside is incredible, and this is the time that we that live here love it, and we love to tell people about it.
Absolutely. If we could bottle this and have this every day, it'd be perfect. But this is why we live here in paradise. So anyway, Steve, let's jump right into it. Give us a little bit on your background, and a question I like to ask our guests is, why do you do what you do?
That's a loaded question. But so my background is I got in this business by accident. By pure accident. And I was actually in school at Bradley University, and I had just quit the swim team. And my roommate said, "Hey, I'm quitting school, but this is cute, really nice job I've got. You ought to apply for it." And it was working for the Peoria Convention Visitors Bureau. They need a promotions guy. Hey, I'll give it a shot, and went and did that, and then actually ended up working part-time there while going to school full-time for 2 years. It was supposed to be a semester, internship, and it didn't happen. It was 2 years. And then when I hired, when I graduated, they hired me on full-time. I originally wanted to be in the advertising business. I wanted to be in an ad agency in Chicago, and
you wanted to be Don Draper.
Exactly, and I got into this by accident and was there in Peoria for 2 years after I graduated, and then ended up in Tampa, Florida, for almost 25 years before coming up here. And when you ask why do I do what I do, that's almost like a song,
right?
But part of it is that this industry is never the same. It is always changing, and even over the 5 years I've been in Pensacola, in what is expected from a destination marketing organization has changed, and so that's excitement. The other part is that instead of selling widgets, we're selling experiences and memories.
Right.
And, that's, you're able to see a family come here and they're able to, whatever they're doing, whether it's on the beach or in the historic district or on Palafox, they're having fun. And you're realizing they're making memories and they're having this great experience. And to me, I get more out of that. It just really jazzes you up.
Yeah. And I talk to so many people now that talk about, I'd rather have experiences than I'd rather have stuff. And so you being able to provide those experiences here has got to be gratifying.
Yeah, and then we have so much here, and that's the great part about it is, it's just not one experience, it's multiple experiences.
Very cool, very cool. So you're into the busy season now. The weather's nice. You've got folks coming down to enjoy the beach. But you've done a lot recently in what's known as the shoulder season, which is the fall and winter. Tell us a little bit about some of those activities and events that you've had that have kept the numbers up during those months.
Well, let me first go back. Shoulder season, I really look at as we have season, which really runs through Memorial Day to Labor Day,
right,
very broadly speaking. But then from Labor Day, really up until Memorial Day, the other side of it is the great time that we have opportunity to sell the area. And really in the last 5 years, we've seen that uptick in the business, especially as you get from Labor Day to right before Christmas, right around Thanksgiving, and then you get your spring break right up until Memorial Day, and actually that time period actually had each of them are about equal in the amount of business that they produce. Summer is still king, and we'll never really catch that.
Right.
And then that December, January, February, well, it is what it is.
Right.
If we have wonderful weather, It's great. It's absolutely beautiful here. If the weather happens to get colder than normal, then it does go through the effects, and we can't change that.
Right.
But still, 40 degrees here is better than 20 degrees in Chicago.
Exactly.
That's how you got to look at it. And really, our focus is more on during that shoulder time period on couples versus families, because they have, the couples have the time.
Right.
And really, you got those that tend to be your empty nest couples,
right,
or those that don't have any kids. So doesn't interfere with school, doesn't interfere with all those other activities that they could come down and get away sometimes for that long weekend. And there's just so much going on. I think both of you guys know, just time of year, there's almost any time of the year you've got an event going on the weekend. Usually it's not just one, it's two or three.
Right.
And so that really helps to go through and help bring people in. We just had something here recently where it came in. It was an event that had not been here before. It was called Tall Ships. And the whole idea was to do something that was unique for Pensacola. And that celebrating our maritime history, but yet you're able to experience getting on, 3-masted sailing ships, of which it was interesting because on Facebook you could tell who was really into it by who got their picture standing next to the big wheel,
right, right.
And posting that as now their profile pic. But again, it was something to we wouldn't have that in the height of season. You bring that in the shoulder season or any other time to help drive attendance and people to visit when we normally wouldn't have folks.
Yeah, and we enjoyed the tall ships. They were right outside of our office, so we got to watch them come in and get set up. It was really exciting.
Yes,
seeing the people come down and watch that and be a part of that was really exciting.
And again, we go back to the event side of it. So that weekend, not only was Tall Ships going on, but also in downtown you had a cheer and dance competition that's been going on for several years. I think about 5,600 participants, including parents and friends and what have you. So you had that going on. You also had the Fireman Challenge out in Pensacola Beach.
Was that the guns and hoses?
Yeah.
Right.
So you had that competition going on, and out in Perdido you had the Emerald Coast Grand Prix, which is jet skis, taking place. Plus there was a softball tournament. Plus there was a run, and I think there was one more. The Wahoos were playing.
Yes.
So all of that was going on. So Sunday I arrive into downtown, and it was just beautiful to see this mix of people walking around. I saw parents walking around with little cheerleaders. I saw folks that probably are thinking, I'm in the big city. They've come in from wherever. You saw the diehard enthusiasts. I ran into one couple that this is the third day in a row they had been. I'm like, this is like one day.
Right.
No. They were like inspecting everything they hadn't expected before. So it was just this mix of folks that were walking around, and son's girlfriend works at Jocko's, and they were slammed with folks. So it was just cool to see that vibrancy, and that was, knowing that we had a small part in that.
No, that's great. That's great. So coming up, you've got National Tourism Week. I'm sure you've got a lot planned around that. Can you tell us about some of the events and activities that will be going on during that week?
No, we got nothing going on.
Okay. All right. Next question.
So National Travel and Tourism Week is something that happens across the United States. It's a way to celebrate what tourism does for a community. And so when I came here in 2013, one of the first things we did is we participate with a travel rally. And we had it at the airport, which was really kind of cool. You had signs, welcome to Pensacola, thank you for traveling. We loved it. I don't know if the passengers loved it, because they'd literally come through security, the doors would open, and and there'd be people cheering and clapping. And some people would be freaked out. Some people were totally into it. The fun one was when we had one parent come through, and they were pushing a stroller, and we saw it, and everyone was quiet until they got past, and then they started cheering again. So we'll be doing that again this year, except we're going to have it downtown, and we're going to have it at Main and Palafox.
Perfect.
As a way, again, and this is more of a way to say, talk about the value of tourism and thank people for being a part of that. There's 3 other events I think folks can take advantage of. One is they can come out and watch the Hospitality Olympics. I know we just had the Summer Olympics,
right,
or the Winter Olympics.
Winter,
and but this is the Hospitality Olympics, and last I heard we have 12 teams participating.
Okay,
and it's a competition, and it's silly games, but it's a way to network and have some competition. And we've got one where you have to scoop up a pineapple on the broom, and you got to take it on an obstacle course, and if it falls off, you got to start over again. We've got another one. It's the toilet paper toss, and basically you got to toss it through the lid of a toilet. And then we have another one where you basically have to unpack a suitcase, put on all these clothes, everything else, run down, then take everything else, repack the suitcase, and bring it back. So there's some other games like that.
Right.
And again, it's all meant to be some camaraderie with those in the tourism industry. And it's really the front line folks. The first year we had it, this will be our 3rd year. The last 2 years, Margaritaville Resort has won the competition. The first year, they're like one person showed up by the time it was started, and our MC went through, and I said, "Whoa!" I started talking trash about Margaritaville not being there. They ended up winning it. They came up. Well, they were frontline employees. They had to get off work, and they had trouble getting in. So, the story, the moral of the story is that these are folks that aren't sitting behind a desk. They're the ones out helping guests.
They're hustling.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what you wanna go through and do. And and then you could tell those that do sit behind a desk because they had leg cramps and pulled up with a hamstring injury. Right. So we have that. It'll be at Wahoo Stadium.
Okay.
And that is going to be from 8:30 to 11 on Monday, May 7th.
Okay.
There's no charge. You just come on out to the stadium and watch it. And the reason we said come out and watch it is last year there was a group making a tour of the stadium, and it was the coolest thing. They got to see because it takes place out in the outfield. So, and again, it was just a really neat opportunity. On Tuesday, we're having the Hospitality Tourism Summit from 8 a.m. to noon at New World Landing. And this is something new. And we wanted to go through and provide an opportunity to have some an education, some uplifting experience really related to the industry. So we're going to kick the morning off with Jeff Schusterman from Majority Opinion, and he's going to be talking about the numbers that we have for 2017, number of visitors, what they were spending, party size. I mean, the stuff that some people find dry and boring that I absolutely love, but it talks to that value of what the tourism community brings, or tourism brings to this community. Following that, we're going to have Quint Studer on. And Quint's going to be there talking about creating vibrant communities. And, he's got a great book out. And I think there's parts of that pertain to the, how we treat tourism and what we do with tourism and creating it here in this community. And then following Quint, we have a lady coming in. My name is Sarah Peter. Sarah is actually a strategist working with the region from Escambia County over to Franklin County, and talking about how do we position this area of Florida for travelers. And she's going to be talking about a certain type of traveler called the adventure traveler. Now, most people, when you say that, think, oh, you're skydivers or, swimming with the crocodile. No. I mean, it can include that, but think about the things that we have here in Pensacola or in Northwest Florida that could fall underneath that. Paddle boarding, canoe trails, kayak trails, bike trails, hiking, exploring eco-related items, birding. So it's more than, the one thing we agreed on for the region is it's the same beach. We've got this gorgeous beach, but what are the other things that go with that? And that plays so much into some of the creative messaging that we're going with. But Sarah's going to talk about the adventure traveler. So great part is when folks, and it's, again, no cost to attend that at New World Landing. And if you, from a standpoint of the material, it just, I think, helps us be better as a tourism community and looking at our community and then what's happening and how do we make it make it better.
Absolutely.
And then Wednesday is our lunch at the Grand from noon to 1 o'clock. And that one we celebrate our hospitality heroes. So those are those frontline employees.
Right.
The ones that every single day are asking, answering the question, can I walk my dog here? Oh, the one I love, somebody asked, well, what time zone is Pensacola in?
Right.
And our staff, because
we're a little confusion right now.
We're in Central Daylight Time. Okay, well, what time is it there now? Right. Well, what time are you? Where are you, Houston? Same time. Yeah. What's the weather going to be like next January? Wow. If I knew that, I think I could get a job as a. Those are the folks that are dealing with the visitors that are here
right.
each and every day. So we take a chance to honor them. We look at those that are in the restaurant dining industry, those in the lodging, shopping, transportation, and then I think like attractions. So all of them are different. So
right.
That'll take place on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then Thursday we have something for the industry itself where tourism gives back, and we're working with a group called Clean the World. And on that one, so if you ever stay in a hotel and, you go through, use your shampoo, but maybe only half of it, is they get the hotels to collect that. And then they will recycle it.
Okay.
And then you can basically go through to create sanitation kits.
Nice.
So we're going to be putting those together with our industry and then taking it to Loaves and Fishes for the homeless shelter for women and children.
Right.
And because, again, you're going to have soap, you have shampoo, you have a toothpaste, toothbrush, some other things that go with that. So it's just a small way to give back to those that aren't as fortunate. So that's a lot on each one of those days, and then plus we'll have open houses at the information centers. We have one out in Perdido Key, of course, the one that's there at the foot of 3 Mile Bridge at the Wayside Park, and then also in Pensacola Beach.
Okay, great. Wow. So that's a lot going on that week, and if we haven't learned anything else today, as of now, Margaritaville is the Alabama football of the Hospitality Olympics.
They are.
They got to try to defend their crown. So you mentioned in your opening bio remarks that you were in Tampa Bay before you moved up here. And I got to ask, down there you've got, Super Bowls, and you've got political conventions, you've got professional teams, you've got all the Gasparilla, all this stuff that goes on. What attracted you to Pensacola?
Well, there was the position that they were advertising for the president's, or actually it was the vice president of tourism for the chamber at that time, but really heading up Visit Pensacola. And two friends of mine, one in Tallahassee and one in St. Augustine, knew of the open position and said, man, we think you would be great for it. And I was serving as a number 2 in Tampa in a much larger market. And one of the reasons they felt that I would be a good fit is because really, and I saw that when I came up here, I'd been in Pensacola a couple times for meetings, but it's like you fly in, fly out, you don't get a chance to explore. But if you take what you have in the Tampa Bay area between the beaches, the historic district, the military, business community, it's in the region. Here it is like this is it.
It's concentrated.
It's all very concentrated.
Okay.
And instead of 2 million people, it's 300,000 people.
Right.
So in the visit when I came up for my interview, and I spent 3 days here, and you just saw that. And landed first day was spent out in Perdido, and here I was at the top of a condo looking at the beaches, going, "Holy cow!" And then I started asking the questions. Well, where's the Germans? Where's the Brits? I'm thinking the international market. Then I go to the Naval Aviation Museum. And I'm a history geek anyway, and I go like, "Can I just stay here a little bit longer?"
Yeah,
this was like in and out.
I can't drag my father out of that place.
Oh, and when I go in, even though I've seen everything, I got to read it again.
Right.
And then, coming in and had dinner out at, Grand Marlin. Then we were out in Pensacola Beach. Then we were in the historic district. And it was just like, wow, this is so cool. And so I saw a lot more potential. There was just so many things happening. And, what a great opportunity to be part of that. And so that was 5 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow.
And so that I think, I think the beauty of the area, the natural product that's here, and the fact is it's growing, is I mean, a great draw. And I think anybody that would consider, making a change, would look at this market and say, yeah, I need to be here.
Right. So you mentioned that growth. Are there certain things that can be done locally to help with that growth and an increase in tourism in Escambia County?
Well, let me just say this. I think if you're talking to the residents that live here, I mean, I think the biggest thing is 24% of our visitors are here to visit friends and family,
okay,
which is phenomenal. So that means we get to be the hosts. And typically what happens, and my brother's coming in for my daughter's graduation, and they're staying downtown, and the first question is, well, I need to be able to get coffee. Where do I go? I want to be able to do, and so we as residents need to be more aware of what's here. Now, the great part is we have some great ambassadors. We just did 2 focus groups of residents to look at how they felt about the value of tourism. And if I could have taken a camera and just pulled them out of that room and said, get on TV right now, because their enthusiasm level was sky high.
Right.
Their knowledge level was sky high. I loved it. One gentleman, was said, God, we got to be nice to the visitors. But he said, man, sometimes I could see where this was going about,
right.
In traffic, they're driving 35 in the 50 in the left-hand side. And he said, I roll up my window before I say anything really bad.
Yeah.
So part of it is helping. How can we help residents learn more about what's going on, kind of getting out of your comfort zone a little bit? If you're always, used to going through and saying, I always go to this event, but none of these others, but your family comes in during the others, you need to know more about them.
Right.
We're in the process of working with University of West Florida to create an ambassador program that we're going to put the front line of the tourism industry through, but then we're going to open it up for the residents as well to go through. And it's, learn our history, learn what we have here, learn about the various attractions, and then if somebody needs information, you can find, where to send them for the information. So again, it's like, can we give them the tools to help be better brand ambassadors? And again, that's by word of mouth, and also being, hospitable. The other part with, growth, comes the whole aspect of what other things are going to come in because of growth.
Right.
As you have more people, I'm an ice cream lover. It's like, there's not enough ice cream shops in my opinion.
Okay.
But you don't build it just for the visitor. You're going to build something for the residents that are here, but the visitor gets to enjoy it. As there more people are coming in, it creates more foot traffic. And so as a business, it no longer is, God, I can only keep my doors open between Memorial Day and Labor Day. I can keep my doors open year round.
Right.
And so, how do we help with that as well from a business side of it?
Yeah. And to get back to your first point about the ambassadors, at the end of the day, everybody who lives here is an ambassador. I mean, we all need to be knowledgeable about our community and be able to share the experiences and know what's going on so we can make it a welcoming place. I mean, not that it's not. I mean, I think we're a very welcoming community, but the more you know, the better you can make the experience for those visitors.
Yeah. It was interesting, some of the surveys that we just recently did on the value of tourism with the locals, or the residents. And if you look at how long folks have lived here that were surveyed, and this is brand new, so I don't have it off of the memory all together, but it was like like over 59% had been here 15 years or longer. Okay. So keep in mind that what they've seen and where we are today,
right?
Or what they, they're used to X, and I'm not going there. That's the big city or whatever it is,
right?
Versus those that have lived here a shorter period of time, and that's really the really exciting part is you find folks that are moving here that have come in from other cities, and they're moving here and they're loving it. and they want to see, gosh, this is so great. We love this community, and they're enthusiastic. So how do we help teach them?
Right.
Because someone's been here 15 plus years, I'm pretty sure they know when Luna landed.
Right.
Now, they might be off a year or two, but they're pretty close with that. Where the new ones, they're like, Luna who?
Right.
Isn't that a coffee?
Yeah.
So,
that's good stuff. So kind of continuing on the growth topic, great deal of discussion about the need for more meeting space, sports facility, convention center, new Civic Center. A lot of that has been going on for a few years now. Do you have a specific vision for what something like that would look like, or what's your thought?
Well, let me describe what it would look like on the inside. So you would go through, and on the weekend you would have a volleyball tournament.
Right.
And you would have, thousands of kids and their families here for a tournament. And they're here because they can't go someplace else. So that happens on the weekend. They leave on Sunday, and on Monday you start to change over the facility. On Tuesday, a cyber convention takes place, and they're in here until Thursday or Friday, or they're moving out, and then you got another sports group coming in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like on the inside. So it's multiple group. If you look at from a standpoint of the types of businesses that are here right now, what I mean by that, you look at aviation, finance, healthcare, and then you get into the government and then cyber. And you look at those, all of those have meetings. All of those could have their meetings that are currently going elsewhere.
Right.
Or they're at their capacity. So the question is, how do we get them here with the right space? Now, doesn't mean you build 1 million square feet. In fact, the recommendation even that the consultants came back with would fit in the same space you would use for sports. So it's not two separate buildings, ends up being one building, but you're able to turn it. And I think that's the key thing. And so you have multiple clients. The families that come in are going to spend a different set of dollars at different places than those that are here as part of general business. And there could be conferences that could grow here and then would have to move because they would need more space. And wouldn't it be nice to be known as that, incubator for conferences?
Right.
Again, relying upon my past experience we had in Tampa, and we had, a major convention center there. There were a number of military related shows that got their start there, and then they basically segregated them out because they grew so big, and then they restarted them again. And, it showcases a part of your community, and that's a growing, cyber's a growing part of our community.
Huge.
On the healthcare side, and, that's only going to get bigger, but the fact you've got 3 hospitals here.
Right.
The other market, gosh, I forgot this one, but I think it's, equally important, is from the university.
Right.
How many professors currently are leaving town to go to a conference? How many professors sit on a board, a committee, a whatever, and could say, hey, I'm raising my hand, I want to have it in Pensacola.
Right.
Right now, we don't really have that space. And so, again, that's one of those potentials. By combining it with sports, you have a building that's not relying upon one market, but now multiple markets. And I think, in Tampa, we were the reverse. It was meetings first, then sports. Here, I believe it really be sports followed by meetings.
Right, bringing those families, and but then have the potential for the meetings that you talked about, and had never really thought about the angle of UWF and PSC bringing in those types of events.
Well, you mean you got SkillsUSA in right now?
That's right.
So they were here 12, 13, and 14 for a 3-year stint. They had to leave because they say that every 3 years they got to rotate it.
Yeah.
And so they were in Lakeland, and when the opportunity came up, Pensacola State College said, we want to have it back. So this is the first of the next 3 years. These, when you talk about job growth, and this is the trades. This is the folks that, right now when they say, hey, I need a bricklayer and there's not enough.
Right.
I mean, you got to bring them in from someplace. How do we educate them? Airplane maintenance. I mean, look at all the competitions that are going on there. And you're like, wow, okay, yeah, those are jobs that could come to a community. Those are, and again, this is for the state of Florida, and these kids will go on to a national competition. If I heard correctly, the board of the national board of directors for SkillsUSA is looking at having its meeting here. And so, what a great way again to show what we have here in the Pensacola area. So again, at PSC, UWF.
Yeah, another huge opportunity.
Yes.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, that's really all the questions I have. Is there anything else sort of in closing that you want to share with us? Any initiatives, activities going on Visit Pensacola that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I think the one thing I want to talk about is more about the messaging. Because, again, so many people, think that, well, all there is the beach. And with our research, and again, we've done consumer focus groups with this, with our guests. So these are potential guests or people that actually have been here. And we want to look at what is the messaging they need to see. And so I use the analogy of it's in the wintertime. It's in Chicago. There's a mom with 3 kids. The 3 kids are screaming. Husband walks in and she's like, we need to get away.
Right.
And, so what is it that's going to be in front of her to make that decision? Mm-hmm. Well, in talking to all the focus groups, they're like, I got to see a beach. I want to picture myself there. But then we say, okay, but we also have these other things. And they said, well, that adds to that vacation. So the messaging for us is, that beach is the hook, but it's just the beginning. And really, how do we talk about our history and our culture, the activities that are going on, and then throwing in the culinary as well. And so we tested images. We tested, one of the great things, we had this one picture, it was the beach blues show. I had one of the blues flying over, really cool looking. And we put it in front of the moms, and they all said, nope. and we're like, that's really cool.
Right.
It was crowded. So they don't want the crowds. And then, we had one group where we went through, and it was made up of both empty nesters and families. And to the person, based on if they had families or were not, didn't have families, they were like, the empty nesters were, I don't want to, in your advertising, I don't want to see kids.
Right.
I've already raised my kids. I don't want to see yours. And the reverse of it was they want to be able to see other families there.
Okay.
So, it tells us on the imaging, what we need to go through. And then it got back down to the experiences as well. So really launching out, talking about the Pensacola experience. And and what is that? And really shooting the imagery right now. It's been beautiful to go get stuff shot. But whether it's the top of the lighthouse or you're at the beach or in a historic district, just what are those things again that get someone to say yes here? And I think the other thing too is when we talk about the visitors, we want a visitor here that's going to have a positive impact not only on the economy but also on the environment, but also on business. And so I would much rather have, last year we had, 2 million visitors. I would love to still have 2 million visitors or go up by 2 or 3%. But they're spending more and or doing more while they're here. It makes them more valuable.
Right.
And so, again, it's, when you think about, people talking about the visitor coming in, oh, you want millions more. No, we don't, because it ruins what? Our experience.
Right.
And so that's what we really have to go through and protect.
Yeah, it's that quantity-quality ratio.
Exactly. And I think quality rules out over quantity. Because again, if you lose your experience, we heard loud and clear, if you become like Destin or Panama City, then
right.
I'm not coming to you.
Yep.
So they're going to find where that is. All right, great. We need to remember that. And so that's why you'll see us wanting to spread the stuff out over the shoulder seasons and into other times of the year. And we don't advertise for the summer. We have some, smart messaging, but our main advertising is spent on the spring and in the fall.
Great stuff. Well, thanks again, Steve. Really appreciate the time. Steve Hayes, president of Visit Pensacola on the Toddcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Toddcast. To learn more, check out the Greater Pensacola Chamber's Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at ToddcastPCola. That's Toddcast, letter P, colon. We hope you join us again next time on the Toddcast.